Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching a video called 6 Lies America Told Me, Jovie's Home. So I'm guessing it's going to be a video, like a video of an American person that maybe moved somewhere else, maybe like Europe. I don't know which country in Europe, obviously, but that's what I think it's going to be, because she says America, Lies that America told me. So maybe, you know, before she like moved, maybe she thought things were going to be different because America told her, oh, you know, things are going to be like in this matter, things are going to work like this. In Europe, like things work like this. And when she moved, she actually got to see the reality and was like, no, actually, it's not quite like that. I know it's going to be like good things, hopefully, or it's going to be bad things. Hopefully, it's going to be good things. But I don't know, maybe it's just different. Maybe stuff that she knew, that maybe she like saw some videos and stuff and thought that things were going to work in a particular way. And then it ended up being like completely the opposite. So let's check it out and comment, like, subscribe, and start.
Hi, welcome to Jovie's Home. I post new videos every Tuesday and sometimes Thursdays. Today, I am sharing with you 6 lies that America told me. All right, sorry, that was a little bit clickbaity, but the real thing that we're talking about today is 6 myths or false beliefs that I had coming from America into Europe, things that I really believed were true because America told me and they were actually not true. So if that sounds good to you, why don't you come on in, kick off your shoes and stay a while. I'm really glad you're here. So let's start out with the Dutch word of the day. And I think that it's very fitting that we have the Dutch word of the day be what the word for United States, and that is Verenigde Staten. Verenigde Staten. You guys know I have to do a little disclaimer because about maybe a little bit over a year ago, I posted a video talking about why I would never move back to the United States. And that video is my #2 best performing video of all time. However, that video has an unbelievable amount of hate comments coming from people in the States that strongly disagree with the things that I said in that video. Now, I do acknowledge that that video wasn't maybe my best because I just turned on the camera when I was angry and I just ranted. But now I've really collected my thoughts, and these are 7 points that specifically if you're watching in America, I hope that you can just listen and understand and be open-minded about the things that I'm saying. And I'm not saying them to bash on America because I hate America. It's actually quite the opposite. Like, if I hated America, I would give no attention to it. I would give no time on my channel to it. I would not give it any space on my platform. But because I actually really want to see it improve because I care about it is the reason that I make these videos. Just like with my own children, when they're doing something wrong, sometimes you have to point out the things that are wrong so that they can learn and do it right next time. You know what I mean? That's this. That's where my heart is. We're gonna stop with the disclaimers, but that's my stand, okay? Let's do this. Number 1, the approach to poverty and disability. And I felt, or it was my impression, again, in the United States, that poverty needs to be not seen, you know? So what they would do, or what is done in a lot of cities, is you have district or areas, the projects or whatever, where you have social or low income housing, and they're kind of lumped in one area. And then you have everyone else that is not on social housing or benefits living in another area. This kind of division or divide creates 2 very different Americas. The glam, rich America that some people see, and then the very, very impoverished, awful America that is the reality for so many millions of people. In Europe, it's not like that. In Europe, you have all the social housing intermixed with regular housing. And I think that for me, it was a big wake-up call to see how that looks and how it actually functions. And you don't have these like ultra super rich, like gated neighborhoods the way that you do in the States, because you don't need to keep anyone out because you're sharing a neighborhood with them. Like, everybody cares about the neighborhoods.
I like that.
Because they're all living there together. It was a real mind shift for me when I was told that there's also, you know, low-income housing the one street over, or, you know, on my same street as, you know, the very fancy international organization that I was working at, and where I was living in that very, very posh neighborhood. And at first, like, no lie, I did not like it because I was afraid, because I had come in with this mentality that anyone who's poor is going to want to rob me or steal
your stuff,
bike. You know, like, and that's just not the case. Like, because I didn't live among poorer people, because I didn't have experiences and interactions with them on a regular basis, I had all of these judgments or preconceived notions about them in my mind that were wrong, that were absolutely wrong. And now, by living in the European or the Dutch way, whatever you want to call it, like, I see it very, very different.
She changed her mind. That's great.
Number 2, government funded or government organized healthcare is not awful. It isn't. It isn't.
Why would it be?
In my experiences with healthcare in Europe have actually been better than in the United States. When we talk about healthcare in Europe, there is something that really stands out to me in my memory. This is an old clip, but this was something that really had an effect on me at the time. And that was Rick Santorum talking about the Netherlands and these death panels that, you know, under the healthcare system of the Netherlands, and because euthanasia is legal here, that basically once you're of a certain age, you just get... It's not true. This shit does not happen here.
Of course not.
Like, it is not true. You don't become a burden to the healthcare just because you're older. And in fact, I would argue that because Europeans have more access to regular health, like regular checkups and doctor visits and things, because we have insurance that is affordable or free, depending on which European country you live in, you're going to be able to treat and diagnose things earlier before they become a real problem and you end up in the emergency room. So, you know, that whole thing of like, ooh, the healthcare really sucks if you are living, like, if it's government regulated or government funded, it's a lie. It is a lie. It is not true. That is not reality. Okay, that is not reality. 3, working without rest or without holidays does not mean that you're working hard. I know that I definitely had some PTSD, I guess I would say, about working. When I first moved to the Netherlands from the States, I really had a lot of issues with taking a sick day or, you know, like going on holiday for more than a couple of days at a time. Like, actually, let's say going for 2 weeks in the summer and not feeling guilty about that. In America, we're really taught to believe that, you know, you are a good worker or you are a hard worker if you are coming to the office early, if you're leaving the office late, if you don't take a sick day,
if you come in sick,
you know. So yeah, feel free, come into your workplace with your slimy nose and your infectious cough. Make everybody else sick. We'll all be here sick together, and that's going to be an efficient and effective workforce. Like, come on, like, I really struggled with these thoughts. You know, as I mentioned, taking holidays was like something that I really had to adjust to, and feel like I'm not letting down my employer because I'm actually making use of my rights. So that was definitely a big thing for me. So Americans, like, I really hope that you understand that you are not a shitty employee if you take a day off. This brings us to point number 4. Capitalism and consumerism are not the most worthy of ideals. When I lived in the States, my absolute favorite pastime was shopping. I loved going shopping for clothes, for, you know, makeup,
everything,
whatever, shoes. Oh, shoes. Oh, I love shopping for shoes and bags and things. And I was doing it all the time. Like, anytime a friend wanted to go hang out, like, oh yeah, let's go walk around the mall. Let's go shop a little bit. You know, it was always about getting more stuff, more new stuff, like
consumerism,
showing off that stuff. And if you look, I mean, now how much things have changed. If you look through the videos on my channel, you'll see that I think I bought new clothes like once in the 2 years that I've had my channel. So I'm re-wearing the same clothes that I've been wearing for ages, and I'm going to until I don't, you know, fit them or until I need something new.
Because they're threadbare.
This whole aspect of like consumerism and buy stuff, it loops into that. Like, you have to keep working so you can keep buying, so you can keep working so you can keep buying, and that's how
it's a cycle.
They trick you into like not being able to be like, oh, let me work a little bit, let me go on a vacation because I'm going to pay for that, and then like I'm just going to, you know, not necessarily buy all new clothes all the time. So there's these like fallacies and these like things that are just not logical, or they're not right, you know? Consumerism and capitalism play a huge role in that.
American society.
More money does not equal more happiness. That is also something that it took me a while to learn here. Now, I'm not saying that like if you don't have money to buy food, that more money would not lead to more happiness, or if you don't have the money to pay for your, I don't know,
basic
heating
needs
in the middle of winter, that having more money would not increase your happiness. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in a middle class society, or like a middle class frame of reference, let's just say, suddenly becoming a millionaire is not necessarily going to make you happier. If you're able to meet your basic needs and then maybe do a little bit of like extras on the side, having all this like piles and piles of money is not going to increase your happiness exponentially. And I think that Europeans know that. Like, Europeans seem to get that, and so their goal is not necessarily always to just have more money. I think that consumerism really gives you an unrealistic expectation of what life should be or could be. And maybe we have the media to thank for that, you know, but definitely just having more stuff and buying more stuff actually does not lead to more happiness. 5. Freedom is a word that we really like to use in the United States, but it's actually not something that a lot of people truly have. This is subjective. I understand that your definition of freedom might be different than my definition of freedom, and therefore we might have a difference of opinion on this subject. But for me, freedom means the following: freedom from stress or fear that if I get sick, I might be forced into bankruptcy or lose my home due to a medical debt. That is something that really weighs heavy.
It's a reality of Americans.
Getting sick is not something that you can control. And if that happens, wow, like, what choices do you have? And that's just, I don't think that anyone is going to disagree with me on that you should not have to live in fear of losing your home or your life because you got sick.
Of course.
Freedom also from crushing student debt is a big one. I really admire like Europeans who, you know, seem to have figured out that we should make education, higher education, accessible to everyone. And
it should be.
Get people into crushing lifelong debt. And I'm not saying that there's no student loans or things here in the Netherlands, because there also is. You can also take out loans if you need study, like financing to go to school. But we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know. That's definitely not the amount that we're talking about. And I also feel like another big freedom for me is the freedom to feel safe. And I did not always feel safe in the States. I'm nervous about guns, and you might say, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Yeah, but people have a lot of guns. A lot of people have a lot of guns in the United States, and I am afraid of those people. because I don't know them, and I don't know, they're unpredictable, and I don't feel safe knowing that I could be on a street walking around and there could be everybody that I see could have guns and there could be shit going on at any moment. Like, that is not safe for me. Students, like children going to school, having to wear bulletproof backpacks, that is not freedom for me.
And not normal.
It's not. Yeah, so that some guy can have freedom to have as many guns as he wants. Now all these children have to wear bulletproof backpacks to school? Like, how is that freedom? That's definitely not freedom under my current definition. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about all of these things. So, socialism and social democracy are two different things. The Netherlands specifically is not socialist. It is a social democracy. These two things are different. And if you don't know the difference, please educate yourself, because calling Europe socialist is wrong and is not the case. That's it. That's my rant. These are the 6 myths or lies that I was told, that I now see the error in them, and don't believe them anymore. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks so much for coming over today. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. I'm very, very curious what kind of discussion will be sparked by this video. Thank you guys so much for coming over. Thanks for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please click subscribe. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You can make that happen. And yeah, I really appreciate you watching to this part. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah, this was very interesting. I think she had like really, really great points. I think probably the thing, because again, I was like, it's gonna be like bad things. No, I don't think it's bad. It just means, you know, different things. And I do like the fact that she, at first she thought, you know, things were gonna be a different way, but then I actually saw the reality because she moved to the Netherlands apparently, and then she was able to like I was able to actually experiment and experience how different like things are in reality, and it's all just like lies, as she said. But I think it's not just lies. I think it's more of, again, like she mentioned, it's preconceived notions that you have of somewhere else that you don't really live in, and because you haven't visited and you don't live there, of course it's going to be just like what I've been told, what I've seen, and you really do need to live it to actually see the reality and the actual reality. And I think that's the case, not just in the USA versus like Europe or Netherlands specifically. It's more of a thing of like everywhere in the world, you actually do need to live in the places to actually really do experience and actually know how things are. It's not enough. I mean, you can prepare yourself and you can like watch videos and you can talk to people, but then until you actually are experiencing the thing, you're not going to be able to actually have an opinion on it. But I think there's a lot of interesting points that she mentioned. The thing about obviously like healthcare, and the safety, I think probably it's the main point in the video. Safety on both, probably I think it's all the freedom and the healthcare thing. It's all, I think you can summarize this into just being, like she mentioned, it's freedom, but I think it's in the safety probably. Safety in being in, you know, like she said, you're not scared, you're not living your life super scared of like, hey, I'm gonna get sick and then I'm gonna lose my house, and then I'm not gonna have like anything, I'm not gonna have the money to like pay for this medical treatment. And I think that's obviously, it correlates with both the healthcare thing and also I think a little bit with the gun thing, because you don't really know what's going to happen, like she said, because in America people do have a lot of guns. It's in their constitution, and it's normal for people to, you know, just like buy guns and at any store, which I think probably most countries in the world, that's not a normal thing. It's not normal that you just you just like go to a store and buy a gun. I don't think that's the case for, I would venture to say, most of the world, if not all of them, except for the United States. So obviously that's a big shock. But she said, you know, you feel safe in here because you know that there's not going to be a crazy person harming your safety or harming your children or something like that. And again, the thing about being about a healthcare, and you have safety in being like, I know I'm gonna have, if I get sick, I'm not gonna lose my house. I'm gonna have medical treatment that's gonna be affordable, or at least that or it's free maybe, and it's not gonna be like my main concern, which sadly it is a reality for, I think, everyone in the United States. They do actually live in fear of that, because you know what's gonna happen, and like she said, you can't control it. Like being sick and having, a medical emergency or a medical issue. I'm not talking about just like, oh, I got the flu. It's something that can happen to everyone. It's not something that you can control. So it's sadly that's gonna be, well, that's obviously better. And she obviously correlates that with happiness, because obviously feeling safe obviously correlates to being happy, because you're safe in where you are. So yes. But also I think it's funny that she was like, oh, I love shopping. Like I used to love shopping. And I think that's like one. And consumerism, and you always have to have more stuff, even though if you don't need it. I don't know if that's the case. Well, that's sort of like the American mentality, but I don't know if all Americans feel that way. There are some Americans that are like, no, it's okay. Like, why would I buy this if, I don't know, a table, if I already have a table that works and I like the table, or something like that. But I think obviously, like, maybe not with a table, but with clothes, I think it's more also like a personality thing of like some people do love to go shopping for new clothes every like 2 months, 3 months, whatever. And I think you also get that in European countries. It's not just an American thing, but I do understand what she's saying of being more of an American mentality of always wanting more. You always want more. You're not satisfied. You're always looking for new things to buy. And that, I think, it's very American. Again, being all generalized and cliche, it is like that. Something because I don't really know how it works. And I don't know how it works in the Netherlands. It's the whole education system. I don't know why I know maybe it's the case for some European countries that the higher education, university and college are free. Maybe they do have some public universities and some private universities. I don't know how it works, but I thought it was free for some reason. But maybe obviously I'm in the wrong. It's not free, but I used to think it was free. I don't know why, but I think maybe it's the case for some institutions, or maybe it's just the case for some countries, or maybe no, you can get to public university. That's something that can happen. I don't know, because I don't know how it works, but I would love to find out which countries have, like free education, or maybe she did mention that even when it's public, when it's private and you do have to pay, and you obviously, if you don't have the money, you can take loans, but it's not going to bankrupt you, and you're not going to be paying that for like 15 years, 20 years. That is the case with Americans, because college is extremely expensive. But maybe it's more affordable, so maybe it's cheaper. Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but it was really very interesting, and I would love to find out more. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.